So I don't think people realize that we are continuously conditioning ourselves every day through repetition, through reinforcement. And I feel like a lot of people in the spiritual community, they're questioning, like, what are these people doing? Like, why are they going here, there, and everywhere, right? However, the thing is, in society, we are conditioned to a certain norm, and we are given an identity. We're given a name, we're given certain roles that we can be in society to be able to relate to as an identity. What the spiritual community is doing is challenging that norm. It's challenging identity. We are all individual experiencing a certain level of reality because our minds cannot conceive the totality of what reality is. We only see certain aspects that we're able to focus on. So when we focus on these aspects through repetition, we start to condition ourselves. And the way that we focus on the aspects is our perception of the aspects. So in the conscious community, we're challenging perception. We're challenging the way we even relate to life. Basically, with conditioning, you do something over and over. So you can condition yourself. You can go through certain experiences multiple times, and the way that you react to that, even if it's an autopilot reaction. Let's say something happens and you get scared, and that thing keeps happening and you get scared even though it's not a real fear, then you're conditioning yourself to be scared during that event that may happen in life. So at the end of the day, we have the capacity to recondition ourselves, to stop the automatic pattern and have something that's where we have more agency over our being. So for me, coming into the spiritual community, my goal is to get agency of was to get agency of my being. My goal was to understand myself more, to be the best person I can be at the end of the day. So for me personally, I didn't go into multiple different conditionings here and there. I didn't go into like the warlocks and all the different types of spiritual understandings and ways of relating to life. I didn't go into religion really either. I never read a religious book. So at the end of the day, my journey looks a little different, and everybody's journey is different at the end of the day, right? So when it comes to conditioning, I just want people to be aware that what you are repeating, you are conditioning yourself to be. You can also condition yourself in a way where you want to relate to identity different, right? You can be informed that, or become aware that, I've been told what I could be, what I can't be, what I'm supposed to be, what will make these people happy, this is who I am, this is what, and really, at the end of the day, through repetition, through life experiences, we start to relate to who I am, as in your individual self or your ego, or things like that. You start to relate to that, and you start to think that you are your past, you are your experience, you are your emotions, you are your thoughts, when that's not truly what you are. So, well, you could say whatever you think you are, but my 2 cents, you're more than that. It's deeper than that. Those are just tools. So at the end of the day, it's like you can condition yourself by taking on another identity. I'll give you an example. For me, when I first came into spiritual understanding, like understanding that the life is deeper than the physical, it's metaphysical. And you know what? You can create your own reality. You create your own identity, things like that. The first thing that I heard that kind of like challenged the norm of my identity was I am God, right? And not to say it, I didn't take that in an ego way. Some people do, and take it like individually, like I am, and I'm, I created everything, right? And they created reality, and kind of like morphing your individual experience with what is, and thinking that what is. So I get that, and it's more egotistical. But for me, I took it as in I am, meaning all. God, all is God. So at the end of the day, I am. I did take it as an identity shift, but I didn't take on it as an ego. As an ego, I took it on as a like awareness of oneness. So in my identity, I started a practice of like oneness, of like reflection, of looking at people for kind of like a reflection of what is, of God, right? And it's interesting because right now people are talking about young Pharaoh and his feline energy and the way that it relates to Elijah Bishop in his moment when he was tapping into this, what he called feline energy as well. It's interesting that both of them started out saying the Black woman is God, right? And they both, in certain parts of their journey, tried to embody this, and that can be like an identity shift. But the thing is, they're embodying what they perceive to, or in the perspective of what femininity is, and they're trying to embody this like animalistic energy. I'm gonna tell you what I just thought about. I just thought about is that to go to the panther and how a lot of men go to these animals. Is that a way to try to bypass the woman, to learn from the woman? You want to embody the animal, but then you still want to embody the femininity, but in femininity you take it on as sensual and some type of power and like instinctual. It's like that's another form of just this power trip and that like grandiose identity, to where it's like, okay, I'm gonna embody this because I am like I would follow my instincts, my animalist, like the basics of reality, like the part of a human that doesn't require too much critical thoughts. I'm gonna follow that because that's the truth. That goes into that grandiose identity as well. So I think that having these conversations about conditioning, and so that we can know what we're tapping into and know how to reflect on certain things and why we want to be a panther, why we want to be a woman when we're, and I'm not even that about why you want to be a woman, because it's like, I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm saying it like, go into why, because the why is going to tell you what you're seeking, what you're trying to validate, what your voids. The why is going to tell you more about what's going on with these patterns rather than just experiencing it, because sometimes certain experiences can have you in a certain condition. And I'm not going to hold you when you are challenging your perception. I believe it's something in your mind, your chemical reaction, your ways that you relate to reality literally changes the way that you think, like the way that your chemicals react to what you're perceiving in life. I don't know the science behind it, but it changes your brain chemistry. Like I've done this before, coming into spirituality, and I done it for a couple like year or so ago too, doing certain practices. It literally changes your perception, the way you look at life. But what you want is your perception to be closest to reality. And reality is what is, beyond what you think, what you feel, and all that. It goes like this. If two birds are going like this in the sky, and one person thinks like, okay, that bird is fighting, and the other one, that bird is reproducing. At the end of the day, that's your perspective, not perception. That's your perspective of what you're seeing. However, reality is two fluffy things with feathers and are in the sky doing this. All right. So when you're tapping into like a different perception of life, different identity, you want to make sure you're grounded in reality. Okay. So sometimes what you think, who you think you are, it starts to become feeling real because of the chemical reactions you're having in your body that kind of validates it, because of the people around you that validates it. Look at the feedback loop that you have, because that's important. Have people around you that don't agree with you and take that in consideration. This is going to help you with your journey. So yeah.